לשואה ולגבורה. תודה למרית ראשמן מיטרני שערכה, לאורית קרן ושוש נחום גולה שהפיקו, רוני ברטהיימר על המוסיקה, מיכאל אורשטיין על הביצוע הטכני, כאן שיקום מנשה. שלום.
Hat euch gejochten bei Jogen Kries Eis durch Litter It's in Jammerei Es wird der Heuschech Wutzerunen von der finster leuchten Sonne Reiter, komm geschwind, dich ruft dein Kind
כל ישראל מירושלים, כאן רשת ב', עכשיו בשעה 59 דקות, עוד שניות אחדות, תשמע ברחבי הארץ צפירה של 2 דקות לציון יום הזיכרון, לשואה ולגבורה.
Please be seated. Once again, if you have not turned off your cell phones or any other electronic equipment that makes any kind of noise, please do so at this time so as not to disturb the proceedings. Good morning. Thank you for joining us at the Anglo Yom HaShoah program this morning. It's being taken care of and sponsored by the 55 Plus Anglo Group, the Benjamin Library, and of course under the auspices of Matnas Meirov, which is the official home for both groups. Why? Why? When tragedy strikes a family, that question is often asked. When such an event involves a larger community, the question is compounded through the sheer result of the population that it impacts. Why? Why? And why again? This is the question that begs for an answer. And as we struggle with its impact, we are left baffled and confused. Throughout our history, we as a people have dealt with many forms of anti-Semitism, hatred, pogroms, intolerance, persecutions, oppressive government measures, expulsions from communities, and incitement against us. Yet, when we reflect about all of those events, nothing, but nothing, can be compared to the global terror and organized efforts of the extermination that took place during the Shoah. During the Nazi reign of terror and the Third Reich, the ultimate goal was to eliminate every Jew wherever he or she might be. Over time, many explanations have been offered in trying to understand why we have suffered with such intensity and why nations of the world continue to allow it to fester and be such a dominant reaction throughout the globe. There are those who want to say that Jewish people are different from mainstream society and that we make others feel uncomfortable with our beliefs, rituals, and approach to life. If we would only become more assimilated into the melting pot of the larger community, these problems would disappear. Prior to World War II, in Germany and Western Europe, many of our people were more German than the Germans and more European than the Europeans. And yet every Jew, traditional, liberal, intellectual, was singled out for destruction. Others have suggested that such devastation is visited upon us because of our internal divisiveness and conflicts that we have with each other. While there is truth in the fact that this type of behavior is not productive and that we all need to improve in our personal relationships, it cannot possibly be a reason for such massive persecution. There's another school of thought that claims that we control the world of science, finance, technology, entertainment, and education, and that we do not allow other groups in society to have an equal share in these critical areas of life. Here too, our physical presence is so minuscule in comparison to the world at large that it is insane to believe that we exert such control over this world. It is clear that we are a very goal-oriented people and that jealousy is a major component of other people's hatred toward us. While all of these approaches have their proponents, it seems to me that the ultimate reason for anti-Semitism is the desire other people have to control, rule, and dominate with their own brand of religion, deity, or secular based, and the need to find a scapegoat for all those who have different points of view. In light of the above, how and where do we find the strength and the will to maintain our course? To answer that question, we need to look into one area that has been our eternal source of survival, and that is our Torah and belief in God, that we, in spite of every trial and tribulation that continues to be visited upon us, will always be a major presence on the global scene. As we begin this morning's Yom HaShoah presentation, we must keep in mind that anti-Semitism is not going to disappear. We are here to mark the most horrific global initiative to destroy our people. The German Nazi regime that wanted to obliterate the Jew from the face of the world. Without a doubt, the sacrifices of our people, the extermination camps, the gas chambers, the crematoria, were all designed to achieve this goal. 6 million of our brothers and sisters perished through this devilish plan, but their ultimate goal did not succeed. And we, each and every one of us sitting here, and every Jew throughout the world, we are the living testimony to the continuity of our people. I believe that we would all agree that today we are once again living in very frightening times, with so many extremists who publicly cry out their desire to eliminate us and the state of Israel. It is therefore incumbent on each and every one of us to not only remember, but to be vigilant about what is currently taking place and be ready to actively participate in whatever has to be done in order to avoid another Shoah. Above and beyond, we must find strength in our emunah at HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that God will never abandon us. Kain Yehi Ratzon. This morning we will be lighting 6 Yortzeit candles. If we can please turn off all phones, please. I ask everybody, before we continue, please turn off your phones for the duration of the program. We are lighting this morning 6 Yortzeit candles from 6 different people who have connections to the Shoah, as well as, of course, to all of us who are sitting here. Our first candle this morning will be lit by Mr. Harry Aftel. Mr. Aftel lights this candle in memory of his parents, Yaakov Moshe and Leah Devorah Aftel. His dad was sent to a labor camp in Hungary, and after the war, they were told that he was transferred to Bergen-Belsen, where he died. His mother was murdered in Auschwitz. The second candle, we call on Mr. Abraham Eisen and Amit Kadmon. Mr. Abraham Eisen is the CEO of Matnas Meirov, which is the home for the Benjamin Library and the 55-plus Anglo Group. Amit Kadmon is the Mankal of the Matnasim here in Bet Shemesh. They join us here this morning to light the second candle to honor the memory of the many people who perished in the Shoah, who do not have any relatives to memorialize their lives. The third candle, Eliana Faber. Eliana's grandfather was saved through the efforts of a righteous Gentile. However, this candle is being lit in memory of her grandfather's uncles and aunts who were not able to be saved through such efforts and perished during the Shoah. The fourth candle, Ellie and Yitzchak Frank. They light this candle in memory of their father, Shimon Frank. He was taken from Amsterdam and only much later was the family informed by the Red Cross that he was murdered in a small Polish town called Szczepanica. Other family members were murdered in the infamous Sobibor death camp. The fifth candle, Jacqueline Lieber Burnley lights this candle in memory of her uncle Chaim Lieber, who perished in Auschwitz. The sixth candle, Sarah Siegman, lights this candle in memory of her uncle, Shmuel David Malina, and her grandmother, Reza Malina. They were hiding in the forests of Parsha, Poland, where they were apprehended and then sent to their death in the Birkenau concentration camp. I ask you all to please rise for the Tel Malay, which will be chanted by Rabbi Abraham Bishop.
El Malay Rachamim Shochein B'Meramim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachas Kanfei HaShechina B'Malos Kedoshim U'Tahorim Kizohar HaRakia Mirim Umasirim Lenishmos Acheinu B'nei Yisrael HaKedoshim VeHaTohorim Shenafelu B'idei HaRotzachim V'nishpach Damam Be'Auschwitz Majdanek Treblinka U'B'shar Machanos HaShemad באירופה שנהרגו ונשרפו ונשחטו ונקברו חיים בכל מיסוס משונוס ואכזריוס על קדושת השם בעבור שאנחנו בניהם ובנוסיהם, אחיהם ואחיותיהם, נודרים צדקה ביד אזכרת נשמותיהם. בגן עדן תהי מנוחתם, לכן בעל רחמים יסתירם בססר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם, אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום על משכבם, ונאמר אמן.
Please be seated. As you know, this year's theme focuses on the diaries of children in the Shoah. It was also decided that many of the photos that will be screened here this morning will emphasize the eyes of children. For me, eyes communicate feelings: happiness, sadness, joy, fear, love, anxiety, satisfaction, uneasiness, fulfillment, and terror. I do hope that you will find the photos, as well as the other parts of the program, meaningful.
He was running some deliveries down in Borough Park. The traffic was a blasphemy. It was late and getting dark, and he had to find a telephone, call up information. There was no way he'd be on time for his final destination. A siren pierced 10th Avenue as a spring gale took his list. So he casually wrote the number on his arm above his wrist, and thinking nothing of it, with the pointed rounds complete, he stopped into a diner to have a bite to eat. Well, the matron on the register reviewed him with alarm. Her eyes went wide with wonder. She kept staring at his arm, and she called to him in German. Avron, bist du das? Avron, is that you? It was only then he noticed her numerical tattoo. There are numbers on the telephone, numbers on a bet. Then there are the numbers you never can forget. He said, "My name is Stuart. There must be some mistake. I was born in Anglo-Saxon." She said, "This time God gave you a break, but of course you don't remember. It was 1942. You were then my only son, and like me, you were a Jew." They brought us into Dachau in the middle of the night. Not a word was spoken as we marched in muted fright, and they threw you in a boxcar with some other boys and men. And despite all prayers and promises, you were never seen again. But the demons never figure in their frenzy for control. They can sometimes take he was running.
A total of 1,500 children under the age of 15 passed through the Terezin concentration camp between the years 1942 to 1944. Less than 100 survived. The ghetto of Terezin, named Theresienstadt by the Germans, located in the hills outside Prague, was an unusual concentration camp, in that it was created to cover up the Nazi murder of the Jews. Built as Hitler's gift to the Jews, this model ghetto was the site of a Red Cross inspection visit in 1944. Every one of its inhabitants was condemned in advance to die. For 7 weeks I've lived in here, penned up inside this ghetto, but I found what I love here. The dandelions call to me, and the white chestnut branches in the court. Only I never saw another butterfly. That butterfly was the last one. Butterflies don't live in here, in the ghetto. On a purple, sunshine evening, under wide, flowering chestnut trees, upon the entrance full of dust. Yesterday, today, the days are all like these. Cheese flower, poison beauty, lovely too. Their very wood all gnarled and old, that I am half afraid to peer into their crowns of green and gold. The sun has made a veil of gold, so lovely that my body aches. Above, the heavens shriek with blue, convinced I've smiled by some mistake. The world's a bloom and seems to smile. I want to fly, but where? How high? If in barbed wire things can blue, why couldn't I? I will not die. I've lived in the ghetto here for more than a year, in Terezin and the Black Town now. And when I remember my old home so dear, I can love it more than I did, somehow. Home, home. Why did they tear me away? Here the weak die, as easy as a feather. And when they die forever. I'd like to go back home again. It makes me think of sweet spring flowers. Before, when I used to live at home, it never seemed so dear and fair. I remember now those golden days. But maybe I'll be going there soon again. People walk along the street. You see at once on each you meet that there's ghetto here, a place of evil and fear. There's little to eat and much to want, where, bit by bit, it's hard to live. But no one must give up. The world turns and times change, yet we all hope the time will come when we'll go home. Now I know how dear it is, and often I remember it.
Sarah Fishkin, 17 years old. Sarah's family was living in Robzhewiec in northeastern Poland when the Germans bombed the town in 1941 and began mass executions of the Jews. Before she was deported and was forced to leave her precious diary behind, she wrote the following entries. Sunday, June 22nd, 1941. Today, the war between the Russians and the Germans began. Monday, June 23rd, 1941. The moment has now arrived to make a person look for a way to save his own life from the bombs which may be coming in the very near future. Many leave their homes. They ride off without a destination. One looks the end of life squarely in the eye. The bullet could hit soon. Still, the desire to spite fate and go on living is very strong. One wants to see what the end will look like when it does arrive. Wednesday, June 25th, 1941. Today, the Germans entered our city and captured it. A short time passed quietly, and then suddenly, a German aircraft began a bombardment of the city. We were afraid to remain indoors and went outside to an orchard to await for death to approach. Shortly thereafter, a large army of Germans approached us, and all thoughts of staying alive became shrouded in sadness. We are commanded to leave that place, and we go with great hopelessness, but are able to stop a short distance away. From afar, we see much of the city engulfed in flames, great clouds of smoke obscuring the light of the sun, which keeps shining on us, as if to say, this all has nothing to do with its light. Human labor and sweat are being consumed in the flames. Innocent people, their lives stopped by bullets, fired